These are the things that we wish we had known before we started living frugally.
It's said that hindsight is 20/20, and for good reason. Experience teaches us so many things.
And make no mistake about it, frugal living is a learned skill. So whether you feel like you're kind of stuck in your frugality right now, or you're just starting your frugal journey, we're going to give you some tips that we have learned along the way about what we wish we had known when we were first getting started.
If you don't know us, I'm Larry.
I'm Hope.
And we're from Under the Median, where every week we bring you videos on practical frugality.
Number one, there's no such thing as perfection. We get stuck in this whole idea of this is a test. And maybe it's because we're in school for so many years of our life, but frugal living is not a test. It's not pass or fail. It's not you must get 100% correct or you're not doing frugality correctly. Here's the truth. Perfection is not the goal. Progress is.
Frugality is going to be different for every person. That's why there's no perfection to it. There's no absolute perfect way to attack it. It has to be done in a way that fits your needs.
That brings us right into the second thing that we have learned, which is frugality is not one size fits all. Frugality is going to look very different for every person and every family situation. There are principles that work with frugality. There are principles that will help you consistently to spend less and save more, which is ultimately the goal, right? But that doesn't mean that the ways that we save money are necessarily the ways that you need to save money. It's very broad-based, lots and lots of ways that you can save money. You have to pick and choose the ones that really work for you.
It takes several months to figure out exactly what's going to work for you. Once again, it's really more of trial and error. You try something, does it work? If it works smoothly for you and it seems to fall into place, then you continue it and you use that again on the next month.
But having said that, if you're looking for some of those tried and true ways that we have consistently reduced our expenses, grab our free guide to radically reducing your expenses. I give you step-by-step information, and I also give you a checklist in the guide. I'll make sure there's a link to it in the video description.
Number 5, you are never finished. There's no time where you can say, well, I've completed everything I'm going to do. We're all done now. We can just wash our hands and continue and go on with something different. No, it is a continual process. And it's a process that you're always updating. You're making changes. You're adding to it. You're taking things from it. You're completing maybe some small steps that you were working on. You never complete the total frugality journey.
Here's the way I like to put it. Frugality is not a destination. It's not a point on a map that you're looking for. Frugality is a lifestyle and it's a journey.
Number 6, you're never stuck. You're never in a situation where you absolutely have no place to move to. You can't change anything. You can't do anything more. You're never going to be in a situation like that. But if you think you are, then you probably are, just because of the way you're thinking. Your thinking needs to run along the lines of, hey, we've got an issue here. It's a challenge. Let's work on it and unravel it.
So repeat after us.
I am frugal. I can change if I must. And don't forget the duct tape.
This next one was a huge surprise to us when we started frugal living, and that is progress is not linear. So you don't start on progress and it goes up and up and up and up, and there's never any snags along the way. Life happens. That's one of the other things we like to say to one another. We have all of these key words that we say to one another. Yeah. And that is, we're never stuck and life happens. Mm-hmm. And that's just the nature of frugality. But over time, you will make far more forward steps than you do backward steps if you stick with it.
What you think is almost as important as what you do. We are made such that what we think in our minds is usually eventually what we end up doing. So if you want to think positive about your frugality experience, you'll get positive results. And if you think negatively, you're probably going to get negative results. So how you think along this path has a lot to do with how you wind up. Frugality has to do with a lot of small steps that you take in every area that you're working on. So you're not going to see big results quickly. That's why it is a long haul experience. You're looking for little things that you're doing to improve that over the long haul is going to make a major improvement. Also, frugality is not set it and forget it. You don't just set some things into practice and then let them run all by themselves. These are things you have to maintain. You have to track your progress. You have to make adjustments. You might have to pull back if you have some things happening in another area of your finances that you have to work on. There are always things that you have to do to maintain it. It's like having a car. You can't just drive it and forget it. You have to change the oil, change the coolant, put gas in it. And the same thing is true with your frugality. You have to maintain it in order for it to work.
Frugality is not a heavy burden. It frees you. This was surprising to us. One of the things that when we were getting ready to do this video, you said that really, really surprised you and kind of goes right along with this point is it surprised you how beneficial frugality really is. You did not expect that to be kind of a side effect of saving money.
No, I wish I'd have known that for sure in the beginning. I would have approached this with a lot more enthusiasm. As it is, I was a little bit wary of it because I thought, oh, this is just going to be burdensome and difficult and hard. But the results are what makes it so rewarding.
Frugality is truly not about deprivation. One of the things that surprised us was how it felt when we got to the end of our first budgeted month and actually had money left over at the end of the month. It was like $45.
Oh my gosh.
And I thought I'd won the lottery. Look, it beat the alternative, which is where we were a month before, which was spending more money than we were making consistently every month in debt and living paycheck to paycheck. That was truly not fun. Now, that $45 was sort of that impulse that kept us moving forward. So one of the things you have to remember, and this is our next point, is that small victories do matter. When you reach a point where you have saved money instead of spending more money than you made that month, celebrate.
Yeah, for sure. And frugality should be fun. It should be an interesting thing. It should provide you some great joy. Once we freed up our money and got some extra money in the bank, it just felt so good. I can't believe the benefits of frugality and how much better it was to be on this path than the path that we were on.
Frugality is rewarding.
Yes.
And it's not just financially rewarding. It is emotionally and mentally rewarding.
It is.
It is something which allows you to move forward toward financial goals. Even if in the past, first of all, you've had a budget and you've fallen off the budget bandwagon, or you have set goals and you've not reached those financial goals. Frugality is a tool in your toolbox. It's a very powerful, very important tool in your toolbox, but it's just one of those tools that will help you to get from point A to point Z, which is where you really, really want to be.
One thing that I hadn't really thought about when we got on this path was the fact that there's going to be two kinds of people that you're going to meet. And that's the cheerleaders. Those are the ones that are on your side. They're going to cheer you on. They're going to encourage you, and they're going to help motivate you. And then you have the detractors. Those are the ones that keep telling you, you can't do this. There's no way you can, run your finances like this. What those people are really saying is there's no way they're going to run their finances like this. But basically, they're going to try to tell you that you can't. Don't accept the detractors' statements.
Number 16, along the way, we figured out what really mattered to us. There were a few really core values that frugality fed into. One of those core values was the fact that we truly believe in our hearts that you do not have to spend money to be happy, that you do not have to spend money to have fun. Frugality allowed us to feed into those things that were super important to us, like those values.
This, I think, is a very important step we hadn't even considered, but frugality changes over time. Now, Frugality to a young couple that's just gotten married, they don't have any kids, maybe they don't even own their own home yet, they're renting, and they're not making very much money. They haven't really established themselves in their careers. Frugality is going to look a lot different for them than the people that have 3 or 4 kids at home. They're planning on their kids maybe looking for saving toward their college. They're working on their futures and how they're going to help finance them. And then when you get to our stage where we are looking at retirement issues, how we're going to maintain our lifestyle and make a little less money on the side, how we're going to change and adjust to being retired. So it changes over time. So that's part of why you always have to be looking at it, examining what you're doing, and changing things that you're focusing on.
The next thing we learn, comparison is the thief of joy.
Yes.
When you are constantly comparing yourself to someone else, you are never going to be happy. The Joneses, it really should not matter to you what their job is, what the neighborhood is they live in, what kind of car they drive, what possessions they own, because frankly, you don't live in the Joneses' home.
Nope.
You're assuming because they have all those things, they're super duper happy people. You don't know about the Joneses. You don't know that maybe they've got a second mortgage on that house, or they're working 16 hours a day in order to afford to live in that neighborhood.
That's right.
Don't make assumptions about people's lives when you are not them. And also don't assume that if you were them, you'd be a whole lot happier.
There is an importance of community. You need to find a group of people that are on the same page as you are, that can help you, that can advise you, that can direct you. I would definitely get hooked up with a financial advisor too, who can really give you some strong direction on where you should go with your money, how you should invest it, where you should put it, and how much. These are very important things. Community will help you to stay on track.
The next thing we learned was one of the most important things we'll share in this video, and that is we learned to say no to ourselves.
Yes.
We learned to say, no, we're not going out to eat this week. No, we're not going to buy that brand new whatever because we don't have the money saved up to buy the whatever to put it in our house. We learned, and this is the way I always put it, and it sounds self-defeating on the surface, so stick with me. We learned to take up delayed gratification and make it our friend. On the surface, delayed gratification sounds like a drag, doesn't it? But what delayed gratification does is it gives you that time that you really need to save up for that goal. It gives you the time to even consider the goal and figure out whether maybe a month or 2 down the line, you're going to realize you didn't really need that thing that you're going to spend money that you didn't have to put it in your house. It gives you time to do your research. It gives you time to figure out a price point. It gives you time to know exactly what you plan to spend on that item. And it gives you time to find that item on sale with a coupon and a rebate. Just saying, stack those discounts as much as you can. It gives you all that time, and that is absolutely critical when you are living a frugal lifestyle. And that brings us right into the next point, which is we learned to set clear goals.
Oh, yes.
When our goal 6 months into marriage was, we want to make it to the next month and have money left in the bank. You know, what we should have been saying was, we want to make it for the next 30 days and have $100 left over in the bank. Because just that dubious, we're going to save money, that is not a goal. And that is one of the things we learned when we did what we call falling into the big green pile of cash mistake. And so for months and months and months, we saved money, but that money had no purpose. So we spent that money on stuff we really didn't need to spend the money on. So it forced us to figure out exactly what our financial goals were, set specifics, and set a time limit.
Frugality can help you to inspire your friends and your family. They can start taking a look at your lifestyle and say, wow, that is really working for them. What are they doing? And you can be an inspiration to those who know you and are your loved ones. We
have honestly been very surprised throughout the past 30-some years at people who have said, You guys inspired. We had some friends that said that you inspired us to pay off our house. We had absolutely no idea. But we did learn along the way to watch for signs of burnout.
Oh, yes.
Watch for signs that you need to take a deep breath. People are terrified of plateaus.
Yeah.
They are frightened that if they get to a point where they're just sort of taking a deep breath, figuring out what's next, they see that as wasted time.
Yeah.
Now, we're not telling you to plateau forever. We're not telling you to take that deep breath and not move on. We're telling you to use that time to really sort of recenter yourself and think, am I really off kilter? Am I too far in one direction? Do I need to do something to sort of reset so I'm not feeling like, as we said earlier, that this whole frugality thing is either a great big ripoff that's not going to work for me, or it's such a drag I don't want to continue doing it.
Right.
It's very fulfilling, but there are times when we are the first to admit to you it's not always easy.
This next item is something that Hope really had to learn. I had this down pat pretty well before we ever started this process. But it's okay to spend money. That's why you're being frugal. You're not being frugal just to save, and never have any money to do something with it that you would enjoy doing. You need to be able to have something that you're doing that's fun, a hobby that you want to throw a little money into, a vacation, maybe somebody else that you want to spend some money on and bless them. But you should be okay with spending some of that money.
Now, if you're ready to head to the next level of your frugality journey, or if you're just getting started and you could really use some very concrete tips and habits that will help you to consistently spend less and save more money, there's a video right over there that can help you with that. Watch it next.